Right, Jesse on Fire. Welcome back to the channel. Let me walk you through this idiocy that is my channel in the last 24 hours. All right, so last night I did a video, and it's like Dustin Poirier and Tony Ferguson aren't fighting, and it looks like Dan Hooker's going to get that fight with Tony. As a matter of fact, that looks like that's actually going to be accurate. As I'm saying this, that looks like that's going to be accurate because right after I did that, it came out, everyone's like, oh no, Michael Chandler's getting that fight instead of Dan Hooker. And I was like, oh man. So I posted a video, Michael Chandler, oh, never mind, Chandler's going to get Ferguson. I posted that, and then an hour later, they're like, Chandler is signed to the UFC, and he's a backup for Khabib and Gaethje. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? Okay. Are you joking? So anyway, so now we're going to do this video talking about Michael Chandler stepping in and potentially getting a title shot in his very first UFC fight. Think about that, okay? And also, Conor McGregor is coming out of retirement. Who called that? Anybody who watched my Conor McGregor video from two days ago about, let me just, I'll reenact the key point of that video, which was, hit an old man in the face, did some bad things with some girls, potentially, was accused of blah, 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 and then here's the eraser. Wait, what's the eraser again? Oh, that's right, him winning a fight in the UFC. And so I said, without a doubt, Conor will have a fight booked instantly now, okay? He got accused again. So if there's any, I'm not trying to be flippant with this because I know this is a serious thing that he's dealing with, but I think the world who loves UFC owes a big thank you to this girl who put this ridiculous charge on him, because now Conor gonna fight. He probably owes her a thank you because he's probably drinking a little bit too much and potentially other things, and now he's gonna sober up again and he's gonna look like he did against Cowboy, and he's gonna be happy and focused and amazing. So yeah. But we'll talk about that in a second. First of all, though, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, you should, I would assume by now, be like, God, this guy's really animated and he's saying things. Like, it really seems like this guy is really saying things. And that should be a huge draw for you. Anyway, but yeah, this is the best MMA channel on the internet, and I will stand by that until someone proves it otherwise, because that's a provable thing. You could prove it. Anyway, all right, so let's talk about Michael Chandler being the backup for the Gaethje and Khabib fight. Think about that for a second, okay? Let me just leave that out there for a second. Michael Chandler is the backup for that fight, all right? So let's say hypothetically that Justin Gaethje, this is very unlikely, I can't imagine, I would imagine actually that Justin Gaethje is probably the least likely person to not make a fight that he's booked for, in the world, right? I mean, let me see if I can say 8 more times. But in all honesty, who do you think is the least likely person to drop out of a title fight in the UFC? Probably Justin Gaethje. I'm being totally serious about that. But let's say hypothetically that something happened. He got hit by a bus, or it's a terrible, terrible idea, or he twisted his knee, just as bad. Whatever reason, he gets COVID, okay? Michael Chandler, coming from Bellator, could get a title shot, like a legitimate, real deal title shot, in his very first UFC fight. Think about that. Think about the lightweight division in UFC, and think about what would happen if Michael Chandler beat Khabib in his first fight. Because listen, all joking aside now, we know Khabib, this is not normal Khabib. Now, he might perform just as well as he always does. It's possible. But he is fighting under extremely different circumstances than he's ever fought under, right? He doesn't have his father with him, and his father just died. He's in mourning for sure. So if he's ever in a place where he could theoretically lose due to external circumstances, this is it. And if that ended up being Michael Chandler that beat him, he came in and just won the belt out of the gate, that would be like lighting an atomic bomb under the 155-pound division, right? Everyone would want a piece. And I would, until proven otherwise, I would certainly pick the top 5 guys in the UFC over him, right? Anyway, so I just think that's crazy. I think that's really crazy. I don't understand, why is Tony Ferguson not the alternate? I guess Tony Ferguson, actually I can answer my own question. If Gaethje was the one who was fighting and Khabib was the one who dropped out, and I don't think anybody's clamoring to see Tony Ferguson versus Gaethje again. And if you made it Dustin Poirier, I don't think anyone's clamoring to see Khabib versus Dustin Poirier again, right? So it's like, Michael Chandler is the X factor. Now, if Conor would have been on his game, he could have been the... Actually, they'll never make Conor a replacement fighter. That'll never happen. But that is a crazy development, man. That is a crazy development. And if he actually got in there and... I mean, I would pick Khabib over him and I would pick Gaethje over him, so I wouldn't have him winning against either of those guys. But imagine what an opportunity for him if he... if lightning struck and he ended up getting to slide into that fight. That would be crazy. But yeah, that's what I got on that. But then now let's talk about Conor McGregor, because guess what? Conor McGregor, it is official that Conor has fun things in the works for the beginning of 2021. Great. All right. So that means that he's hoping to get a fight booked by, call it mid-October or by October, whatever it is. Like, let's say he'll have a fight booked in a month, and he'll be the first card of 2021, hopefully. Then, yeah, he'll have 3 months to train, and I would imagine that would be a fun fight. I have to bring up that Masvidal and Nate Diaz is not signed unless I'm mistaken. You got Max Holloway hanging out there, kind of, unsure of what he's going to do. What if they did Max Holloway against Conor at 155 to open up the year? That would be amazing. Conor's so hard to even think through who you should have him fight, because if it's at 155 pounds, you got to think that he wants a title shot against either of these guys, Gaethje or Khabib. So I have a hard time. I have a hard time thinking that he's going to get booked for a fight that is going to be at 155 pounds and not for a title, unless maybe he was against Dustin or Max Holloway or Tony Ferguson. That would be incredible, obviously. But it could also be Masvidal at 170, or it could be Nate Diaz, could be Nick Diaz. That's a matchup. That is a matchup, right? Because listen, like, if you're the UFC and you're thinking about what to do with Nick Diaz, this is a simple deal, man. He's going to sell a lot of pay-per-views, probably one time. And then he's probably getting, because if you want him to be a big deal, you have him fight against someone who's a big deal. And anybody who's active that's a big deal is going to be a huge favorite over Nick Diaz coming back off 6 months. So, but if you have him fight Conor, you have him do it at 170, man, I mean, that is a beast of a fight. That's a beast of a fight. Because Nick Diaz is the same as Nate Diaz. He's almost impossible to knock out, and he has endless energy, right? So even though Conor will just piece him up in the first couple of rounds, that is not a walkthrough for Conor at all, because he has the same problem that he has with Nate, which is he's impossible to knock out, and he's going to have gas when Conor runs out of gas. So that would be incredible. But I mean, there's so many things you could do with Conor if he's not tied to fighting for the title. But either way, all I care about is he's going to fight. He's going to fight. He's going to fight. And we owe that to his bad behavior and the accusation from the girl. So, and the press for reporting it. So thank you, everyone involved, assuming that no one is actually traumatized from this. And that's what I got. So subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. Peace.